Barry Bryson here. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word. We're going to pick up with chapter 9 of Luke's Gospel. We're studying the Gospel of Luke today, and Jesus is about to send out to 12. I gave you some incorrect information the other day. Actually, I corrected myself when I was already right. Um, and I said that Jesus had the first person Jesus sent out with an evangelistic message to go preach was Legion. Go back to your hometown and tell everybody. And then I said, oh, no, he'd already sent out the 12. Well, he hadn't already sent out the 12. He's sending out the 12 today. So if I double clutch next time, um, hold me accountable, okay? The first person who is sent with the gospel message is a Gentile. It's Legion. The first person who hears the phrase, I am he, is the Samaritan woman. The only person to anoint God's anointed during his lifetime was Mary of Bethany. And the first person to see the risen Lord, all four gospel writers agree, Mary Magdalene. So, 3 women and one formerly demon-possessed Gentile are all the firsts of these things. Not any of the apostles, not any of the male disciples. Thought I'd point that out. Okay, chapter 9. That's what you call overkill. Because I had self-corrected and I was not wrong to begin with a few days ago. Chapter 9, we're going to read verses 1 through 6. This is the sending out of the 12. If you want to see read the longest version of this and know all the things Jesus said and how he applied, uh, his message as he sent them off, read Matthew chapter 10. That's where we have the longest version of this. He called the 12 together. He gave them power and authority over all demons and to heal diseases. And he sent them out to proclaim the kingdom of God and to perform healing. And he said, take nothing for your journey, neither a staff, nor a bag, nor bread, nor money, and do not even take 2 tunics apiece. And whatever house you enter, stay there, and take your leave from there. And as for those who do not receive you when you depart from that city, shake off the dust from your feet as a testimony against them. And departing, they began to go about among the villages, preaching the gospel and healing everywhere. So we have all the details that we have in Matthew, but in condensed form. And so let's talk about the elements that we have here and we have in Matthew. I really believe that Luke is trying to tell a comprehensive God story. Um, and so when we get to some events, he compresses those events. Is what we will find longer versions of things in Mark or Matthew's gospel because he has new material, like the parable of the sower, like the prodigal son, like the parable of the unrighteous steward. He has material that's not in any other gospel yet, and he wants to leave room for that. I think that's what's happening as Luke is writing his formally researched gospel. But let's talk about this. He's sending them out in pairs, and he's sending them out to preach. And he's also giving them power, temporarily investing them with the power to heal the sick and to cast out demons, because that is going to reinforce their message. They're not just going to be a bunch of hicks from Galilee who show up in town telling them. They're going to have an actual power that will reinforce their message and give their message gravitas. So there's that. That's why I don't think Judas was corrupted yet. And I don't think he was corrupt when he was called. I think he was tempted later on for whatever his reasons are. When we get to Judas, we'll talk about those reasons. But people have asked me all the time, Judas, he was a quisling from the start, right? No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think he's a true believer. Otherwise, how could Jesus have invested him with the power to cast out demons? Jesus himself says in Matthew chapter 12, that's dumb. Demons don't cast out demons. A house divided against itself cannot stand. So I think in investing them with this power, we know that all 12 of them are worthy to be given this power. Jesus says, I don't want you to take anything. The thing that hinders the message is our stuff. That's an important message, isn't it? The more stuff you have, the more wrapped up in your stuff you are. in maintaining it, in protecting it, in caring for it, um, and acquiring the accoutrement to go with it. Um, don't take a bunch of stuff. You just go out and depend upon the hospitality of God's people. If someone offers you hospitality in a town, you stay there. You're not going to move up to a better house or a better cook or more food or softer beds. You stay with the person that initially offered you that hospitality. If no one shows you hospitality, okay, they've made their choice. Shake the dust off your sandals and go to the next town. Which is what they did. Which is what they did. It is such a good model of opening a new work, of doing evangelism. The message needs to be reinforced with action, action that Jesus makes possible. We don't have, and no one has had since that first generation, special spiritual gifts. But as Jesus himself points out, we also have ways to demonstrate with deeds. Men can see our good deeds and glorify our Father who is in heaven. We can live lives that Jesus makes possible, and only Jesus makes possible, to reinforce the message. We need, when we're opening up a new work, maybe in a new area, a new cultural area, we need to accept the hospitality, the culture of the people among whom we are serving. And if they don't want us around, they've made their choice and we go somewhere else. We accept their no as a no. But when we're there, we respect the hospitality that they're showing to us. And I think there's just so much here. Luke, there's no replacement for Matthew. There's so much there in Matthew. I'm sending you out as sheep among wolves. Be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. I mean, Jesus said that at this time. We know that from Matthew's gospel. But Luke, in in boiling it down, in giving us this demitas, this refined object, has just crystallized, has made clear the main themes that we take away for evangelism. Okay, we'll pick up with verse 7 next time. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word.